What's up? Dark Side here again for another episode of Off the Couch. This week with Phil Nicoletti, we're going to recap Southwick. Filthy Phil, what's going on, man? How are you?
Oh, not much. I don't like the sounds of the off the couch thing. So it makes me sound like I'm a has-been or a little bit washed up.
Well, the idea was...
Or that I'm not racing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess the idea that when I came up with the title last week was the guys that are injured or off for the summer or just, they're watching the race on the couch. You're not there.
Yeah, I guess you were at the lake. I've been hanging out with... I've been hanging out with Coop quite a bit, and he's a bit more on vacation than what I'm doing. So,
still mad at him.
I'm on the injured reserve. Yeah, I'm on the injured reserve. He's actually on vacation, so
right.
I can't hang out with him too much at the moment. He's a bad influence.
I'm still mad at him.
At Coop?
Yeah, man. When you guys were in studio a few, back there at Pulp. He kind of blew me out a little bit, and I didn't really agree with his assessment of how often I called him.
Gotcha. Yep. To be honest with you, he probably doesn't even know. To be honest,
yeah.
He probably has you mixed up with somebody else, possibly.
No, he's right.
He does.
No, I asked him a few times at the end of 2021, I think 20, and he started blowing me off. And he, in studio at Pulp, he said that I was calling like every month. And I went back and looked. He was on 6 times in 3 years. So it's twice a year. And I probably did ask him other times, and he would say like, oh, I'm busy this week. Well, that doesn't tell me like, hey, you don't want to do it. So I might call you again the next week thinking you would actually. So it was just, I don't know. It made me look bad, dude. He's like, yeah, he calls me every month and he's wearing me out. And it wasn't really that wasn't the case. And it kind of bummed me out, but it's all right.
Listen, he's about as delusional as they come with certain things. And he's clueless with anything that's going on in moto. So it's actually quite amazing how clueless he is about the sport and what's going on.
That's funny. That's funny.
I'm actually baffled, but so no, it's been good. Been hanging out with him. Well, as much as I can and riding a little bit with him. And like I said, we're in different pages right now. So he's on a little back to the roots tour for him, racing and riding locally here. And then, I'm just trying to get back in the grind to get ready for Unadilla. I was hoping to make it back for Millville, but the 8-week injury plan kind of extended to about 12 weeks. So I was asking a lot from my body to try and heal in a short amount of time. And there's a lot of damage. And now we're finally on the up and up, I guess. So now I'm just trying to battle 30-minute motos in the scorching hot heat and try to dig myself out of this freaking hole that I'm in.
Yeah, is the arm still bothering you a little bit, or
yeah? No, it still bothers me. So, it just sucks. It's I broke it right next to the plate, and it's healing, but now the bone's trying to heal back over the plates and stuff. So there's a lot of things that are going on inside the arm, and then obviously riding moto is not exactly the easiest thing on your upper body. So there's a lot of pain with breaking bumps and jumps and what like that, but trying to push through, trying not to be a puss about it and whatnot, but there's only so much I can really do.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad at least you're back on the bike. I mean, that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it gives me a little bit of purpose. So there's 6-7 weeks that were pretty dark, and it's hard to fill your days without a dirt bike.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, let's talk about Southwick a little bit. The first question I have is with the we know how cheap you are. Do you pay for Mav or Flow?
Actually, I'm super pissed with Mav and Flow at the moment because I went out yesterday. We had a boats and diaper day with Coop out on the lake yesterday. So I actually didn't get to watch the races yesterday. So I came back. I was going to watch them today. Well, I come back today and I couldn't really watch it on either Flow or Mav. The replays weren't uploaded yet, so I had to use it on some YouTube guy or whatever that had to upload it. And it's pretty hack and blurry, but yes, I pay for both apps and I'm getting shafted on both apps at the moment. So not happy, but I've had the app since I raced up in Canada for Flow. So I've actually been paying for it and I didn't even know. So that stings a little bit. So Yeah, so by the end of it, it's probably another $75 a month, and all these bullshit streaming fees and stuff that we have are all, YouTube TV and this and that. But I actually use Alex's YouTube TV and Netflix and whatnot. So I
Yeah.
got the better end of the stick,
Okay. Yeah, I saw on Twitter today somebody asked if it said is it just me or is it everybody? The replays aren't up, and then somebody responded and said it's just you, but I haven't looked. But you're telling me it's not up.
I don't have the replays on mine on
Jeez.
Mab or on the Flow. So yeah, pretty gut wrenching for our sport. That's taken about 15 years. Step backward 15 years, I guess you could say. So it feels like anyway,
Yes.
The past couple of years we've gotten spoiled with Peacock, and it's always uploaded and this and that, and it seems so easy with Supercross, and now it's like, dude, I can't even keep up anymore.
Yep, I feel the same way. It's hard to be a media person when you're not there and you can't watch the race.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm an enthusiast of the sport, and I really want to watch the race. But if you're not really into the sport, but you want to try and watch it, there's no way you're ever going to find it. So they just say, screw it, But I'll sit here and spend an hour trying to find, Moto 2 from Southwick just because I want to watch it. But Joe Blow is not going to do that,
right?
Yeah. And I don't blame him. So it's a bit hack at the moment, but hey, I guess that's where we're at right now. So
unfortunately, yep. Hopefully it's going to get fixed, but I'm not very positive. I'm not feeling very good about that.
Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, I do. I pay for Peacock. I pay for Peacock, Flow, and fucking Mavs. So.
Wow. Woo.
Yep.
All right. What are your thoughts on Southwick as a track, not the race in general, but do you like riding there? I mean, it's pretty gnarly, it's pretty rough, fast.
To be honest, so it's weird. I grew up 4 hours from Southwick because I'm originally from New York, but I never went up there to race. So the first time I ever raced there was my rookie year in 2008, which was kind of mind blowing to a lot of people and even to myself because I was always a little bit afraid of the sand and all the NESC boys. So even the kids that were my age, Dakotas, Robbie Marshall, Pooh Graps, and then the older generation that were still super badass, Keith Johnson, Treadwell, LaRusso, and a few others. So I never really wanted to go up there and get my ass handed to me. So I always kind of stayed away. But through the years, I was more of a hard pack guy. But since I, moved down the club and I was in the Charlotte area for so long, sand kind of grew on me. So I really don't mind Southwick, but it's not as sandy and as loamy as, let's say a Gopher Dunes where I've raced the past couple of years at. The two tracks aren't even comparable. But it's still a beast of its own. It's kind of super tight, not very fast except for a few sections. But it's okay. I call it like an armpit. It's just hot and sweaty, and it's kind of shitty. It's miserable to be honest with you.
I don't think it was very hot this weekend. I thought it was like 83. Is it? But maybe it was humid.
Yeah, I can guarantee you it was humid. I don't know. I mean, it's regardless, even if it was 75 degrees, the place still wears you out.
Yeah.
Lower back and legs. It's pretty amazing when I watch guys like Eli, Kenny, and Chase, and they're able to ride so neutral and stand up and use their legs so much. And it's just like, dude, their core and their lower backs are so strong. It's like they don't get tired. So definitely freaks of nature. But yeah, Southwick's a beast of its own. It is our sandiest track, but I still don't think it's the sandiest track that we could be racing on here in the States.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm sure there's some other ones. Even WW Ranch seemed like it was a little gnarlier to me.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think through the years, they brought sand in, but when it rains and stuff, it's kind of in a valley. So I think all the sand just kind of washes off the ridges and stuff and the hillsides of Southwick. So, but then again, yeah, it's still the same concept. It is sand, and you still have to have this, the flow mentality there. And if you don't have that, it's game over.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the race itself, let's talk about your boy, the end of the line for Troll Train. His day didn't go great, but I mean, what do you think about Troll retiring and I guess his ride at Southwick, 16:11 for 14th? He was on my team for just a minute and I bailed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been battling it for a little while. I've known now for a couple months it's going to be the end of the line. I mean, he told me, we didn't tell many people, and that's what he kind of wanted to do, and he wanted to wait till the end of the year to tell everybody. And I'm glad he came out now so he can kind of like have a little farewell, tour for himself for next week at home and the rest of the races. But yeah, I mean, Alex has had a hell of a career, and it came to the point where we had a pretty deep conversation. He said his heart just wasn't in it anymore. And when your heart's not in it and you're not willing to grind every single day and, basically put your life on the line to really go out there and race and give it your all, it's over.
Yeah.
So, every one of us comes to that, point in the road where we either gotta go left or right. And, he just decided it was enough. But, I think his overall 450 year or career, I guess you could say, for this year has been a little underwhelming. I think he realizes how hard the 450 class is, and I always told him throughout the years it was always a big learning curve for me. But I think he thought he'd be more in the top 10 week after week, but it's a grind, and it's a big bike to handle for 35 minutes. And when you're someone like Alex, when you're 135, 140 pounds and you're on a star bike or a TLD bike, you have a pretty solid advantage over everybody, but in the 450 class, it doesn't really work like that. That advantage goes out the window.
Yeah.
So I think he's still learning, but he did have one hell of a 250 career, and I'm proud of him from where he has come, because I was with him when we had nothing, and to kind of grow into it together, and finally we each, obviously he got better results than me, but we both got decent results. So we kind of worked into it together, and to see where we were, 10, 12 years ago to now, it's pretty cool. So, but yeah, his Southwick results were not that dialed. So he's got to stop laying on the ground in the first corners.
Yeah. And
Doesn't help him.
Mathis had tweeted, I think Kate actually asked him about Mart for fantasy purposes, and Steve said, not today. So we both pulled him off our team, and I think that was – I don't know why Steve said not today. I don't know if there was a reason behind it, or he just felt like it wasn't a good – like Millville's going to be better for him anyway. We need him next week on the team, so he should kill it next week. But, yeah, he didn't do very well. And neither really your other two teammates, your Muck-Off Club MX teammates, Marchbanks and Enzo Lopes. Bad days for those guys too.
Yeah, it was a rough day for the team. Garrett – it's hard because if people saw Garrett on a Wednesday riding, and even me and Alex, Garrett smokes us, hands down smokes us. Obviously, I'm just coming back, but he hands it to us day in and day out. And his speed on a Wednesday could, I swear, be a third place guy on a Saturday. But for some reason, that's not transferring over onto a Saturday. And that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter what you do Monday through Friday. It's all that happens on Saturday. So Garrett's been doing pretty good. I mean, he's still young. He's 20 years old, but that's not really to justify anything, because Chase is 20 or 21 too. So he's a young buck, and he's got it together. But yeah, he had a pretty bad car wheel, and I think that kind of took the wind out of his sails. And then as far as Enzo, he's only ridden the bike 5 times, and he had a bad crash his third day back at club, right before Redbud. So he's kind of been battling some injuries, and he's all bruised and banged up, and still had surgery on his arm, and that's still giving him a little bit of issues. So, yeah, it's last weekend trended in a downward spiral, but that's the good thing about racing. There's always another Saturday. So the boys will get back to it, and hopefully Millville will get them back on top.
All right, well, let's get into the 250 class. What I want from you is just kind of what you saw on TV that maybe stood out, some highlights, some surprises, anything that just, kind of caught your attention.
Well, it's obviously it's apparent that Jet's, out there dominating. And I love Jet and I love Hunter. I think they're two badass little dudes. And I just feel like the 250 class for myself, I don't know why, I feel like it's a little underwhelming because Jet is so good at the moment. Whereas last year, Jet had to go up against Jeremy and Jay Coop. So it was always like a 3-way battle between those three every single weekend. And now this year, obviously, Jay Coop's coming back from an injury and stuff like that. And J Mart's not there. So Jet kind of has the upper hand a little bit over everybody else. I'm not saying Shimoda and Hunter are that far off, but I don't think they have that raw speed like Jay Coop and Jerma had last year to go against Jet. We're seeing a little bit more of it coming from Shimoda and Hunter. I think they're getting a little bit closer in Kitchen as well. But week after week, man, Jet's just it's phenomenal. Even if someone's a little bit slow or a little bit faster than him the first couple laps or whatever, like he doesn't really get flustered. He lets him stay on him a little while, and then all of a sudden he slowly starts to break him, And I was looking at lap times the past few motors, and it's like around lap 10 in the second motos, Jet just kind of lays wood to the boys when everyone just starts to fade off a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Jet would be 6 for 6 right now if it wasn't for last weekend.
Correct.
So that's domination at its finest.
Yeah, and I think like Hunter just has to figure out starts. Like he's so inconsistent, and that was a big part with Southwick. He's bad starts both motos, couple crashes, and you can't do that. Even when Jet crashes, he did the first moto, still won.
Yeah.
So you have to be almost perfect.
Yeah, you can. And I don't know what changed with that. I know last year around Millville time, Honda got a new engine package because they were struggling really bad against the Star bikes. They couldn't hang with them. But now Jet has been getting consistently in the top 5 for starts, I would say. But Hunter, he's very hit or miss whether he starts up front or not. And yeah, that kills him, especially on a track like Southwick where I think Southwick is a little bit of a goat trail, unless you're someone like Tomac who can just blow people's doors off. It's really, really hard to pass there because the whole backside where the pits are, I think is pretty one line through Buckley Corner and whatnot. So, I think it was really it was an uphill battle for Hunter, and I'm not really sure about his gate selection either. I've seen where he was starting, and I don't exactly agree with that. If I'm those guys, it's or one of the Honda guys that's going for. It's hard to start next to a Star bike. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Regardless, because their bikes are so damn good, you can almost guarantee 4 out of the 5 of them are going to roll around the first corner in the top 8. Almost every time. So if you're a Honda guy and you start next to them, I'm not saying the Honda's bad, but I don't think it's still as good as a Star bike. And they just get swallowed up, and as soon as they pinch you off, it's game over. So I don't know. I debated when I seen that today. I was just like, I don't know if I agreed with Hunter starting positions.
Yeah, good point. I didn't even really think about that. So that's a good something that you picked up on.
Yeah.
Do you think Joe? It seems to me in the last couple of weeks he's gotten much more aggressive in his riding. Do you think he'll get a couple more wins? Because I feel like it's there. I mean, he has to stop crashing too. The last 2 weekends he's come from pretty. Yeah, I think he was started 6th both motos this weekend. But if he can start up in the top 3, I think he could beat Jet, and at times just raw speed wise.
Yeah, and I think Joe was always so conservative because if you look in the past at Joe's stats, he was super, super consistent. I think this year is the first time I think he's trying to get out of his comfort zone maybe a little bit, find that little extra speed because he's made a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors throughout this year, even in Supercross and into the outdoors. But I think that's just coming with him trying to get more raw speed. That's the way I kind of look at it. And I know they say that he's training with Nick Way, and that might help and this and that, but that doesn't. I don't know how long he's been working with Nick, but as soon as you switch trainers, that doesn't just change in 3 weeks. Like you automatically don't flip a light switch, that kind of stuff takes time. But that first moto, watching Joe kind of reel in Jet there for a little while. I mean, the dude was on rails. When you can see the flow when they're just hopping bumps, like after the finish line, they come down into the left to come back up to the first corner. I mean, they don't put their foots out. They're literally just like a train on rails. And it's super, super impressive. So, kids like that, they got skill, and Kitchen's the same way. So, when they get in a groove, it's pretty unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, Kitchen's coming on pretty strong. Last thing on the 250s I want to ask you about is the Hunter Lawrence, Styles Robertson drama. We didn't get a lot of it on TV. We caught the tail end of Hunter jumping into Styles and then the aftermath. And, to me, it all looked, from what I could see, It looked like Styles should have been mad at Hunter. I don't know what the hell happened. Just what'd you think of from what you saw?
Well, I listened to Styles post racing that he had, and he fully admits, like, yeah, it was his fault. He got cross threaded and he came over on Hunter. Like,
okay,
I
missed that.
I get it. Like, yeah, like that happens. And Styles, like, listen, dude, he goes, I was going to apologize. Like, yeah, that was on me. But he said before he could even apologize, Hunter came at him, which I would, yeah. And I get, it's funny. I get both sides. You know what I mean? I mean, I've been on the side where Hunter, I want to rip the fucking dude's head off.
Weekly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Weekly. You know, it happens every once in a while. So I really don't care about an apology. But I'm all for that stuff. I mean, if it wasn't for emotion in sports, we would have those sports. You know, no one would even care. So I think that's a crucial thing that we have, and emotion brings character. So, and if they didn't show it, they wouldn't give a shit. You know, just Hunter was. That's what happens when you have a bad moto after you have the red plate and you have all this kind of weight on your shoulders. It just it creeps out. So everybody else would do the same exact thing. Everyone else that's kind of blowing Hunter out, you know, saying, "Oh, he acted the wrong way." Well, put yourself in those shoes and you would do the same thing.
Yeah. Heat of the moment. Yep.
Yeah. Guaranteed. So, you know, but that's just the way it is. But like I said, I like Styles. He's a good kid. And no one, there's only very few people I know purposely cross jump people, but Styles is not one of those people.
No,
trust me.
Definitely not. No, I agree.
You know? And yeah, I just think that just kind of just happened. And yeah, when he crossed over, Hunter was there. So I don't know. Did anyone get fined? Because normally you're not allowed to touch anybody. Because I know if that was me touching somebody, I'd get my ass ripped apart.
I haven't heard anything yet today, but I feel like we'll probably hear something. I would almost assume there has to be, the way he grabbed his helmet and kind of shook his head. Yeah. I would think I think something's probably going to come. I would have to assume.
Yeah. Which to be honest with you, I hope not. You know, I don't know. I think that's kind of childish shit to penalize somebody over something like that. You know, I mean, Styles took it well. He went back at Hunter. So I think it's just kind of one of those things. So let the boys have at it and have their little fun, and and let them move on from it. So
yeah, give them a warning on the first one.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's not like somebody ghost rode their bike into somebody. You know what I mean? So I think that's a bit child's play that they do. So that's cool. I'm fine with it.
Okay. Let's jump into the 450s, which is really turning into pretty much a two-rider battle. I'd like to think Kenny could get back in this, and I even like to think Jason could at least get in and get some overalls, but it's starting to get away from everybody.
Yeah, it's a two-horse show for sure. And I think Chase is doing one hell of a job at the moment, staying as consistent as he is. You know, it's pretty unbelievable how he's been able to respond, you know, with bad starts and overcoming a couple tip overs, even at like Red Bud last weekend. It's not like things went his way, but he responded very well. So you almost have to think, you know, give Chase Eli's experience and stuff like that. In the next few years, Chase is going to be he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I know everyone's talking about Jet and this and that, but Chase's trajectory is taking off like a freaking rocket. So I think it's going to be pretty badass, but it's hard to go up against Eli right now because the dude is like the freaking Terminator.
Good analogy. Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to stop him when he starts rolling like that. So, and we're going into tracks that are pretty rough and gnarly, and I just think this is the momentum is swinging his way. So, but both guys are kind of known to make pretty big mistakes every once in a while where they cost themselves some points. But I don't know. I think Eli's kind of surpassed that now finally in his career at 30 or however old he is. So it's pretty cool.
He's riding much more mature. And you talked earlier about those guys hopping over bumps and using their core, and Eli, just the way he was launching off some of those blind jumps, and a lot of the guys were doing it, but there's just something about the way Eli flows. And when you said the Terminator analogy, like once he decides to go, he just goes. It doesn't matter inside, outside, whatever. I'm passing you.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Like the way and Chase does it okay too, but I think Jet and Eli do it. It's hard because I think it's a lot easier to do that on a 250 hop jumps and rail corners with not putting your foot out and this and that. But when you do it on a 450, the bike and the inertia, it's a lot harder to hold that thing the way Eli does it. And he does it like a fucking boss. And I don't know how he does it to where, his front end never tucks and it's always, front wheel's always sand surfing like just right. And the dude's a hammerhead. So he's pretty awesome at Southwick. I mean, the only one to really beat him in the past there has been Marv. But I think, I'd be curious to see how we come to Millville and Washougal. If it keeps trending the way it is, it's going to be hard to stop him.
I agree with that 100%. And I'm kind of bummed on it because I really wanted this to be a 2 or 3 rider battle like we all do till the end. But yeah, it's kind of, like I said, it's starting to get away from us. Let me ask you this about Christian. In that first moto, when he was leading, to me, his bike looked really twitchy. Like there's multiple times where I thought, oh man, he's about to tuck the front end or the bike's just getting, is there something that you saw in that or did you even notice that?
Not really.
Okay.
Like I said, like they said on the broadcast, he's on the same thing. I know he works with KYB and Gilmore does his stuff, but I know Eli's on an air fork. I think Christian's on the hybrid. So I don't know. I mean, who really? It's hard to really tell. I mean, they run different clamps. They have different races. I mean, Eli could be on a set of clamps in a different, races compared to Christian. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different variables into it. And not only that, I think Christian and Eli may be around the same height or whatever, but Christian looks a lot taller on the dirt bike. So. Who knows? It could be just a setup thing or a front tire thing. I mean, I don't know. There's so many variables.
Sure. Okay. Before I let you go, 2 more things. Anybody that in either class that you were really disappointed by, surprised in a negative way by, expected more out of?
This is probably going to sound bad. I'm going to have to go with, it's actually 2 people.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go with my 2 teammates, Garrett and Alex. Garrett's speed, like I said, is phenomenal during the weeks, and everyone says like, oh, I'll get on the 450 or he's so big, he can't get to start on the 250 because he's too big. Well, he's on a 450 and his starts are just as bad. So that's one thing. So I don't know if he's just a bad starter or if Helen Keller could get a better start than him or what. I don't know. But Garrett during the weeks, he should be a 5-6 guy on the weekend. And I really believe that. But like I said, it does not matter what happens during the week. All that matters is what happens on Saturday.
Yeah. Let me ask you this real quick. He told me at Lakewood that he had hurt his leg that week at practicing at club. Do you know if he's still lingering effects from that at all?
I don't know. I mean, that's everybody else on the starting line too.
That's true. Fair enough.
I don't give a shit about that.
Okay.
So everybody out there, anyone that's in the top 15, let me tell you what, is dealing with multiple nagging injuries after 24 races right now.
Fair point.
It's kind of brutal. So, and then Big Al's as well. I think if you would have told me that he wouldn't have at least one top 10 overall by now, I'd say you're a liar at the beginning of the year, but that's just the way it is.
Okay. Yeah. I'm bummed for him. I would like to see him do better just going out. He definitely has more talent than what he's showing. And I think you're right though, because he kind of mentioned that on one of those little interview things they did during the National that, hey, at my size, it's just a lot. He said it's a lot harder to ride a 450 than I thought it was going to be. Yes,
it is. And I don't think, and people don't really realize that, you know what I mean? But you put Alex on a star bike, he'll be top 4.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. but you have them on a Yamaha 450. It's the same chassis. Everything's the same. Just the engine's different. It's a completely different ball game. So it's, I don't know, but I get what he wanted to do. He wanted to say he did it once before it was all said and done. And, he's, like I said, he's had one hell of a career, so I can't knock any of it. But I can definitely say I've had a better 450 career than him.
Good. All right. Last thing, man. Millville winners, overall winners.
Ooh. I'm going to have to go with, man, I hate to say Jet, but it's, probably Jet. I'd like to say Shimoda gets in there and gets an overall win again. But it's hard to go against Jet at the moment because he has such phenomenal speed. And then 450, man, I don't know if he can make it, 3 and 4 in a row? Is that what it would be?
5 moto wins in a row right now, I think. So that'd be 6.
Yeah, but that would 3. Was Southwick in 3 overall wins in a row though?
Oh,
or 4.
4, I think.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's so hard to pick. I'm going to have to go Eli. Eli again, as much as I'd like to say Chase to keep it a 2-horse race and keep Eli really chomping at the bit. But, I don't know. I'm going to have to go. No, let's go Kenny. Screw it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to amend this. I'm writing it down just so I'll keep track. All right.
Go Kenny.
I'll go Joe and Chase, and
okay.
Maybe we'll both be wrong. We'll be surprised.
Yeah. I'll go Jet and Jet and
Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny.
Cool.
We'll see.
Well, Phil, man, I appreciate you jumping on here with us. I know there's probably a million other things you'd rather be doing, but it was a good time talking to you, man.
Yes, no worries. I appreciate it, Dark Side.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll see you back at the track soon, and I hope you start feeling better, man.
Yep, thanks, buddy.
Right.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah, bye.